And as I was saying earlier, typically the bigger the speaker, typically the larger the woofer in any specific series of woofers, like this is the Gothic series from Power Acoustik. Typically, the larger the speaker, the lower you can get as far as hertz. The lower the number would be. It's gonna vary, but the lower the number would be in hertz. So let's go up here and check this out just to fact check that. And there you go. It gets lower and lower. I don't have that for this. This is just an individual. This is just specification for that individual 8-inch woofer from Skar, but it runs true across brands with that. But anyway, okay. So another thing you want to look out for is, you know, a lot of companies that put a lot of false specification on their products. You got to watch out for that too. So once you've done your research and you've narrowed it down to 2 or 3 brands or subwoofers that you want to go with, now it's time to do the cosmetic inspection. Okay? So another thing you want to look out for is companies that falsify a lot of their specifications, their specs, their numbers. When it comes down to people researching them, they look good on paper, but they don't look that good in actual in the physical form. They don't perform as well as the spec sheet says. Okay, so that's another thing you got to look out for. So in this case, we're going to move on to phase 2 of this. Phase 1, of course, was doing the research, the specification, matching your subwoofer to your amplifier, making sure everything matches up, looking at the numbers. Phase 2 is going to be all about the inspection, the cosmetic inspection of the woofer itself. You know, so we're going to see if, you know, if it even feels as though, before we even plug it in, before we purchase it, we want to see if it even looks and feels as though it will put out those specifications. So let's dive off into this. All right, first runner-up is going to be the Lanzar Vibe. And people, please don't judge this woofer too harshly, because it has been with me a long time. And I have unintentionally damaged this speaker like 2 or 3 times the exact same way every time, believe it or not. Okay, I'm a do-it-yourselfer, so I got tools. I had this thing in the back of my truck in a sealed box for years. First time I threw a wrench through here, broke the surround on it. It's too cheap to try to recone this thing, so I just put some hot glue on it, and it seemed to perform just as well. So I bought a cage for it. Next thing that went through it was a screwdriver. Of course, the screwdriver goes straight through the cage. So I put some more glue on it, and just recently, not even a week ago, I was doing some more maintenance on something else, and lo and behold, I did the exact same thing again. So this speaker is a survivor. I'm quite fond of it. It was one of my favorite ones back when I had first bought my truck, and this thing rocked pretty good in a sealed enclosure. I had it in a 1.1 1.25, I believe, foot cubic feet sealed enclosure, and it rocked very, very well. But needless to say, well, I'm not going to say needless to say, it didn't perform that good in a ported enclosure. Put in a ported enclosure, and it just sound like, it didn't sound as good as I thought it would sound. This thing performs a whole lot better at high frequencies. I would say what it's rated at around 50 hertz. You know, in between, you know, 40 and 50 hertz, it performs damn good. But anything below that, you know, I had an enclosure that was tuned to like 35 hertz that I had built. It sounded good, but I knew it could sound better than that. And also, with it not being under the security of a sealed enclosure, it wanted to jump the gap as well. So it couldn't even handle the free air resonance at 30-something hertz. But let's just look at this thing cosmetically. We're gonna flip it over, and we're gonna look at the magnet, or the casing of it. And this is a one-piece casing. It's not segmented. I don't know if this is aluminum or iron. I believe it's iron. Housing here that it is on, that it has, and it has this this magnet right here, which is not as big as it appears. This magnet is really has a rubber boot around the edge of it right here. I don't know if you guys could tell or not, but this is actually a rubber boot that hides the magnet that's up under it. So the magnet is a little bit smaller than what it appears to be. It does have some venting here to protect the air holes, and let me see if I can get up in here so you guys can get a look at the tensile leads of it. All these things you need to pay attention to, because the tensile leads is going to let you know. There it is. They're woven into the spider right there, which is a good sign to see that they are woven into the spider. I don't know if you guys can really get a good look at that, but they are. And the thing I like most about this woofer are the believe it or not, the terminals. It makes it very, very easy for someone that's going to wire this thing dual, parallel or series. It really makes it easy for you with this setup right here. I really like this setup. I actually want to take this off here once I got finished with this woofer and put it on an existing woofer that I have, but I have yet to do that. But anyway, to me, this is very convenient. I like that. It seems quality. Tensile leads are doubled tensile lead. I guess I would say that is about, I don't know, I want to say 10 gauge, maybe 12 gauge right here. It's not, I would say around 12, 14 gauge is what you're dealing with right there. So there's no need to connect any wire bigger than that to that. A lot of people go crazy with these wires and put and I'm one of them, I'm guilty of it until I learned better, but I had so much wire left over. You'll see some videos of mine that has the same thing. But anyway, things like that. What does the magnet look like? What does the casing, the housing of this thing, the basket, what is it made of? What does it look like? Is it one piece? Does it seem as though it'll rattle or make noise when the bass hits? Does it have proper venting for the voice cords? Very, very, very important. The magnet, is it double stacked or is it single stacked? Very, very important. And then you want to see what kind of, the magnet height. You want to look at the height of the magnet and this little nipple right here, because that's going to show you or be a good indicator of how much excursion this thing would be capable of. And like I was telling you, once I put this thing in a ported enclosure where it was free to move on its own, this thing wanted to jump the gap. It popped a lot, and I didn't want to damage it, so I took it out and I went and purchased another woofer. So this thing here is only going to be in a sealed enclosure, or maybe in my home system where I know not much power is going to be pushing through it. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention the surround itself and what it's made out of. This is actually a plastic cone on this thing. All this is plastic. Some people frown upon that. They don't like it. Some people would prefer a paper cone, and it's different types of paper. You got press and you have something else. You have press and you have, I forget what the other one is. And the surround itself is a foam surround, and it's actually glued in right here, and it's not stitched. Most people would prefer stitched surrounds because it shows more durability and more quality. But this one is glued. But like I said, this thing was only like $50, $40-50 at the time. And, the quality shows. But it performed, to me, at the time, it gave me exactly what I wanted. And I felt as though it was a bargain. So, that being said, we're going to move on to the next next speaker. The next speaker that we have is going to be the IX8 from Skar Audio, and as the name entails, this is an 8-inch woofer. Okay, so let's flip it over and look at the magnet on it. And There you go. This one here does not have a rubber boot on it, but what it does have, you know, it does lack the rubber boot. It does lack all of the flashy cosmetics that you just seen in the other subwoofer, or that you see in most subwoofer magnets. But in this case, I'm not looking at what it lacks. I'm looking at what it brings to the table. Okay, in the center of this thing, you have this huge vent for cooling. And to me, let me get this thing turned around. And to me, that's very important.